Hello, welcome back to another weekly edition of Options Trading Pilot. I'm John. This is Guillermo. Guillermo, how are you tonight?
I'm doing great, man. Just eventful weekend. My Gators lost, no defense. So I hope the coaching staff is dealing with that.
All right, well, that's good. We had some good dinners, played golf a few times. The weather's finally getting nice and cool. So we had a good time with that. Let's take a look at where the markets are. I think the story of the weekend has been Bitcoin. The buyers are really in charge at 62,000 now, over 62,000. You can see we're really moving up. It's quite, it is quite amazing, really, if you see the run on this thing. Hopefully next week, the US government will be approving the concept of a crypto ETF, and I think that's really why we're seeing so much run up in the crypto markets. We're in the middle of earnings week. I'm a little bit concerned overall. For premium sellers, this is what the VIX has done over the last. It's lost about 35% over the last couple weeks. And as premium sellers, we need volatility to be up. So the premium is greater for us. Right now, with the VIX sitting at 22, it's fairly low. We needed a couple points higher, 10–20% higher would be nice. But we are going into earnings week, and you can see things like JP Morgan. They were outside of their expected move by about 2 times the expected move. Alcoa was way out of their expected move, but their IVR, their implied volatility, was under 20, so they're not the ideal trade for volatility because we're not getting paid what we should or what the optimal you should for the risk that you're taking. So we're in earnings season big time next week. I love earnings season. I'm a little bit on the sidelines this week unless we get some increased volatility. I don't know how good the trades are going to be. We're going to be taking on more risk and not getting compensated for that if the volatility stays low. But we'll just have to see. We're going to have to be very selective. IBM is one of the ones that is coming this week. That probably has the highest IVR out there right now at 51. But it's IBM. It's not a real exciting stock to trade. And you can see it's already had a huge run up here. So we'll just have to wait and see how that goes. Oil, I'm looking at, let's look at just from the current, the market here. This is the crude market here, commodity market. We're sitting at $82 a barrel. I don't know yet, Guillermo, but I'm thinking I might fade this a little bit. We've had a pretty solid run up for 2 weeks, made a lot of money in the commodities. Gold and silver are really not following. But I'm going to be maybe fading this just a little bit, not aggressively, but just maybe selling a bear call spread against that. But I am going to be looking at going in a little heavier on copper for the long side. So that's about what I have. I really like to trade earnings, but I'm just kind of not sure where we're headed with volatility levels.
Yeah, and you bring up an excellent point, and I think it'd be good to kind of go over the reasons for why we would like to sell credit on our options. So I'll hit that real quickly, but if you don't mind giving me, I'm going to reclaim host here so that I can share my screen. Yes. Okay. So we're going to, and just real quickly, I do want to hit a little bit of why we like to sell premiums. Basically, the way we do it is we like to have the odds on our sides. So when you sell premium, what you're doing is you have theta on your side. You have the volume crush, volatility crush on your side. And then we sell the options a little bit far away from the expected move or right at the expected move usually. So that gives us yet another way to win. So there have been times where the price of the stock is really within the number that we would have a losing trade, but because the volatility crushes and it goes way down, then we go buy back our options, we actually win the trade. So that's the basic idea of the strategy that we mainly implement. But as John said, the VIX is pretty low and it's right at that cusp, right? 22 is a really good number, but it's right at that cusp, and we tend to have to do debit call spreads at that point, and that's just basically lowering our ability to win trades, because that's just what happens on debit call spreads. We buy them right at the money, and then we have the insurance a little bit after that by selling to make the trade cheaper. But anyway, I just want to get into my trade. And oh, before we move on, I did want to see that CL a little bit, because I have my Camarilla equation with the volume profile here. Apparently, we're gonna have to keep it tight. So you can see that the Camarilla points right up here. There's thin volume profile. If it goes beyond a little bit of like 83.42, this may go up, but I'm with John. You know, it's right at Fibonacci. Camarilla is right up there. If it really bumps up, if it can't defeat that, we could see it come down. You can see the fair value is more like over here, 82.24. Now I'm looking at, oh, sorry, this is my 5-minute bar. Let's go to my daily bar. That's way more prominent. And so again, we're hitting right up on it. And the more fair value is like at 79.80. So now I am bullish over the quarter on oil, just because it's a really busy month, but we've had such a fast run up that I think it's good to pull back on it. Just wanted to touch upon that. And then let me share a little bit of what I like to show weekly. And if I can find it real quick, here we go. Right, so this is our weekly review. And the whole idea is just kind of to present a general foundation of what we're looking at. And that allows us to formulate other ideas other than what's out there. And so this RRG, it's a weekly view of what things are coming in vogue. We want to invest in things that are in this upper right-hand quadrant as leading. As you can see, XLF, which is financials, very strong week last week. If you're positioned anywhere where you were long on it, then you made pretty good money. And what's interesting about when you go into earnings and they have different days where these companies release earnings, especially more of a defined role as in financials and banking. If one bank does well, then you would anticipate the other banks would do well. So it's kind of a good idea to piggyback off of that. And so you can see energy, XLE, we talked about oil, those things are flying. It looks like it wants to get back into this leading. But overall, XLF looks like the one that's entering that area. And then more general, the XNG, which is the gas, natural gas, is really coming into this. And then the BKX, which is the broker dealers, they're also doing well, another financial. So things are really strong. It looks like there's more positive. Look at the blue dots that are trying to get into this leading than there are others. So to me, it's like we're seeing bullish, really bullish hints here. And so if we look at the financial sector, there's nice gap up here for what happened over last week. And so what we would anticipate is this going up. That you can see his way, it's above this wick on 39.40. So I would anticipate this moving forward. Of course, like in any one day we could have a drop, but the odds are favorable for this to keep going. And so again, looking at relative to what's going on, you can see the overall markets. We want to be generally longer, and it is just here's XLF. You can see that is down here, but it should be catching. I'm sorry, it's up here. It should be catching up pretty fairly quickly. And then going to the SPY, this is the daily chart. Again, we had that gap up, double gap up days. That's very strong. You can see that the volume down here is positive. It's not like it's on low volume. It's just good volume. So I wouldn't necessarily expect a downturn. And so what's interesting here is that if you see where these lines of operation are, you can see right here, this 450 line might be an issue, but it closed at 445.87. I think futures are slightly flat or slightly down for now, but for the week, I do anticipate yet another positive bullish week. And this is the weekly view. When you pull back and you look at a 30,000 foot view, which to me, I like looking at the weekly, you can see how clear the uptrend has been. You can see how this island formation right there is just wants to go up. So I would skew my trades toward positive, towards the bullish side. And again, because we don't have the volatility to earn premiums, we have to be very selective as to what we're going to what we're going to sell premiums on. IBM might be good. I haven't had great luck on IBM. Have you, John?
It's not my favorite thing to trade.
But,
but I think you're right. As we get into the week, we're going to have to be selective. We've been kind of spoiled the last couple quarters because volatility's been high. We can play both sides. Trades come within expected moves. If Alcoa and JP Morgan are kind of a sign of what's coming, we'll probably be selling more puts than selling calls, just because we don't want that top to get blown through.
Right. And so that's one of the things that we do on Options Trading Pilot is we do manage the trades. Obviously, everybody could be right and everybody could be wrong, but the question is, what do you do when you're wrong? And there's a lot of things that we manage at Options Trading Pilot. Come visit us, hit a subscribe here so you can follow us or join our Discord group through our website. And so that's the key thing here, is that we will probably focus on bullish, but on any day things can drop. And so there's ways to manage those trades to try and save them and even win the trade when you initially lost. Again, other ideas is called debits. You can do those a little bit out of the money. You might not get as much money, but your win rate does drop when you do that. And so anyway, any closing remarks, John?
Well, just looking forward to a fun week. Always fun to trade, and earnings always gives a little more spice. Hopefully we'll get some two-sided action this week. Yeah,
it's I'm looking forward to it. In the morning, I'll be following the futures all night. Again, just to shorten it up, I'm going to be bullish this week, and I like the oil idea that John is doing. So I'm pretty heavy in oil at this point, and I'll probably close out and set my stop losses shorter than I had them, but I'll review that tonight and then go over that. All right, thank you. You guys have a great week trading, and we'll go from there.